I, f21, don't like my transgender friend, f21, anymore post-transition and I wanna cut him off. TLDR. The title. I've known James for my entire life. Our families are friends. We were classmates in HS and spent almost every day together. At the time, James identified as a woman. I'm very feminine. I like makeup, skincare, fashion, hanging out with my girls. And back then, so was James. We had that in common and it was a big part of why we got along so well. When we moved for uni, James came out as trans and started hormones ASAP. I was very surprised, but supported him fully. I did feel like I lost a friend in a way, but kept my feelings to myself. The problem really started after his transition became noticeable. 1. First of all, James became very hostile towards the feminine things he used to enjoy. He says things like, makeup is for insecure girls. Skincare is such a scam. Only dumb people fall for that. Olivia Rodrigo? Are you 12? And that really bothers me. We've had several fights about this. It always ends with him using being trans as an excuse to SHT on femininity. I understand he has a complicated relationship with it, but I can't stand how rude and demeaning he is to me, even if unintentionally. 2. Secondly, James and I have always slept in the same bed and cuddled. Ever since we were small children. None of the boyfriends we've had ever had a problem with that, and we've never been romantic with each other. Still, after James transitioned, I am no longer comfortable with it. I don't want to cuddle a male friend. It makes me feel weird. I can't control my feelings over this. I just feel gross. I don't want to feel like this, but I do. James has a huge problem with this. When he wanted to sleep over a few weeks ago, I set up the guest bedroom. He was extremely offended and went home. We didn't talk for 2 weeks. Then he texted me again as if nothing happened. Those 2 weeks were the most peaceful in the past 2 years. We argue every time we see each other. If I don't make the time to see him, he accuses me of not liking him anymore and abandoning him. The truth is, I don't like him anymore. I do not like this person. It's not about the fact he's trans. It's about the fact that we have nothing in common anymore and he's constantly rude to me. I have tried talking about this with him several times. He is completely unwilling to consider my point of view and thinks he's fully justified in being offensive to femininity and that I should get used to it. I don't want to try anymore. I still love him and don't want to hurt him. How can I cut him off in the least painful way? This is probably harder for you because you feel like you can't cut ties because of the transition. But honestly, friends do grow apart, regardless of the reason that has happened here. It clearly has. You guys obviously don't enjoy your time together anymore. And it does not matter the reason. If you're uncomfortable sleeping in the same bed with someone, they should respect your wishes and sleep somewhere else. This is not something you should have to argue about. It doesn't matter what you're accused of when you decide to back off from this friendship. The reasons for it seem pretty clear. You guys are friends who are no longer friendly to one another. The longer you allow this to continue, the more bad blood there will be. Maybe someday in the future, you guys can revisit your friendship. But for now, it's not healthy, which means it should end. Sounds like he's in his pick-me era and has some growing up to do. I would just say I feel like you shame my interests that we used to share. I fully support your transition, but as friends I feel that we've grown apart. So he thinks being a man is toxic masculinity? Gross. Also, why would he be upset you don't want to cuddle because you see him as a man? You respect him and see him as who he is. He's not the first trans man to feel like he needs to go way too hard on masculinity and shun everything feminine, and he won't be the last. It sucks. But As a trans masculine person myself, being trans is not an excuse for being misogynistic. Telling him that you don't want to spend time around someone who is constantly insulting your interests is a very reasonable boundary that gives him the choice to stop being an asshole or stop getting to hang out with you. As a bit of a side note, I cannot imagine being on testosterone and not having a skincare routine. I didn't have one before I started T, but I had lots of fairly painful pimples, and now, through the magic of the scam of skincare, my skin is much better. Not perfect, but better. I shudder to think of the pimples I would have if I didn't take care of my skin. Not all friendships are for a lifetime. Some are for a season, and this one may have run its course. There is no version of this cutoff that will be painless. I will say that a lot of what you are seeing are growing pains, and James will arrive at a more nuanced view of masculinity with time. Be honest with James. Say that it hurts your feelings how frequently he dumps on femme things and that you need some space. You're in such a hard situation. I also have a f21 trans friend. It was really hard putting up new social boundaries. We always used to hug, cuddle, sit on each other's lap, etc. And post-transition I started to feel uncomfortable with being so physically affectionate. But in reality it's simple. I am not physically affectionate with any of my male friends. Pretty much at all. If he wants to be treated as a man, then yes. It comes with new boundaries. Don't feel put off by setting them. Yes. It will make you the bad guy. And he probably won't take it well. But it's a conversation you need to have. Definitely pull him up on the toxic mask behavior. That's not the kind of friend you want or need in your life. Girl, I promise you right now your life will get so much better when you straight up tell him that you do not like him anymore, and you list all the reasons why that you posted here and say that to him. If he wants to be friends with women, he needs to cure his misogyny. And bruh, it's perfectly reasonable for a girl to not want to sleep in the same bed as a guy. In fact, anyone of any gender can refuse this and it would be normal. It sounds like you've already tried talking to him, so just end this friendship at this point. Your friend, who does not behave like a friend, will take it badly regardless of how you put it. From what you write, the message is, we used to have a lot in common and now we don't anymore. On top of that, I don't want to be friends with someone who is constantly rude to me and demands I accept this newfound behavior. The way your friend treats you and the things you like is very toxic. I don't dislike you because you're trans, I dislike you because you're an asshole. Misogyny as gender-affirming care, smiling face. That is your decision to make. No one can honestly reward or fault you for this, as it happens in all friendships. People change. Make decisions that others don't agree with or can't understand. For one person it may be okay and they just change their perspective. Another person may be against their decision and can no longer respect them. I lost the majority of the people that claim to be my friend when I stopped using drugs. Same goes for anyone for any reason. It simply doesn't sound like he is being a good friend, not listening to you and your feelings. Being angry at your boundaries. Putting down your interests, etc. I'd talk to him in these terms because at the heart of what you're saying, it's that. Just cut him off. At the end of the day, he's not responsibly anymore. He can handle his emotion and you can move on. I am confirming your new identity as a misogynistic man I have nothing in common with. I do not want to be friends with misogynistic men I have nothing in common with. Have a good one. This is going to be difficult no matter how you try to approach it. I would simply state that you've grown apart and now have different interests. Say you wish them the best. but you feel that it is time to explore life separately. I also understand not wanting to sleep in bed with your male friend. I've always had male friends, and would even sometimes cuddle them and stroke their foreheads if they were sad. But this was always on sofas or on top of covers and fully clothed. And never for a full night. It's okay to have boundaries. Sounds like he's committed to misogyny and doesn't respect your boundaries. You never need a reason to stop sharing a bed with someone other than that you don't want to. On top of that, he transitioned, and you, in accepting his transition, have different boundaries for men than for women, and that's perfectly reasonable. If cut this person off, there's no reason to continue dealing with someone so rude and disrespectful and manipulative. It's not transphobic or homophobic, it's just good human practice. It really sucks that misogyny came included in his transition package. It was truly optional. But you don't have to stick around and take it. Honestly, I don't even think you should treat him with kids' gloves. He deserves to know the truth. That his behavior is unacceptable and you don't like the person he's becoming. Maybe it will serve as a wake-up call. I don't want to cuddle a male friend. It makes me feel weird. I can't control my feelings over this. I just feel gross. I don't want to feel like this. But I do. James has a huge problem with this. I saw a post from a FTM who discovered that men are universally considered as predator both by men and women, and are touch deprived because nobody want to come near. He said, he wipes a privilege he didn't know he had.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.